Welcome back, friend. Now we are going to move on to how to make money through the undefined ego or heart center. This is the willpower function when we look at this through the lens of the business aspect. This is about selling worthiness. Fun. So again, a nice review if you have been watching these sequentially. This is a good review each and every time, so we don't get caught up in the money aspect of this, even though that's what I'm teaching and that's what you're walking through. The important piece is that our goal is to attract money in the correct way. That's satisfaction through responding, success through recognition and invitation, peace through informing, awe through waiting for the right initiation into the correct environment. So this really has to be the focus. We can't focus on money. We have to focus in on our alignment to our design. We have to focus in on the correct use of that so that we can attract resources in the right way. And when we align, then the process just happens. So making more money will never be satisfying. It'll be, it'll be frustrating if we're focusing in on money. So being satisfied while making money is a totally different story. Now again, you can replace satisfaction there with success, peace, and awe. So what you're learning through these is that we are here to sell naturally. And what you sell naturally, you're actually sold on naturally. So the openness of your design, even if it's just a channel or a gate, or you maybe have all the functions or just a couple or maybe none, all of this openness is the doorway in for your clients. They're coming to you. They want you to deliver to them what they want. But these doorways are also for you to go out, for you to gain wisdom, for you to be sold on the exact same things that you eventually are selling. That's what we do as human beings. We sell our experience. We sell our wisdom to other people. So the material world is actually a third line process. So in the introduction, I talked to you guys about this, is that we are focusing in on the third line. Why? Because it's material. It's the heart of how we make money and be materially successful. This is the trial and error process. Trial and error brings great wisdom. It embraces that failure. The third line can adapt. It can pivot. It's innovative. It's creative. And what the third line really does is it's the martyr and that anarchist. So it breaks down the old way. And then the new foundation can come up and be built. So the material way, and I show you this constantly because the material way is shifting. The whole ego tribal circuitry is shifting, because there's a breakdown in the 19 and 49. And the 54 is going to be a part of the global orchestrated directory come 2027. So the new way to be ambitious isn't about chasing a dollar. It isn't about chasing money. What it is it's about you being aligned to your correctness, to your design, and knowing and honoring your intrinsic value. So the ego center, just, quick review of it. This is big. 70% of the population have this undefined. 70%. So again, another big money maker here. The tribe is materially driven as the expression of its wealth happens in the ego. So the 21 and the 45, this is a figurehead. This is about royalty, the CEO. This isn't where quote unquote money is made. This is where support management and care management happens. But this isn't really about where money is made, even though it's called the channel of money. It's just the figurehead of the money. It's just the demonstration, for a lack of a better word. So there is a huge distortion in humans that think they are not worthy. If the ego is defined, that's what I have a defined ego, you naturally have something to prove. And in my experience, what this is it's proving, it's not about proving it to others. It's about proving it to me, proving it to myself. It's an internal process. If the ego is undefined, there is nothing you have to prove. Watch the material world and profit from it. You get to do that by improving the nuances within it. Worthiness, self-worthiness. This is about self-improvement. Those kind of things happen in the ego. So again, I want to reiterate something here. You just saw me talk about this in the Sacral Center if you are watching this sequentially. If not, you can pop back in there and check it out. Again, manifestation does not happen by using more willpower. As I talked about in the quarters, where our purpose is fulfilled, the second quarter is the quarter of form, civilization, where we're concretizing all of this mysticism and frequency into materialism. That happens in the second quarter, but it happens in the throat. And manifestation, you can put as much work or as much willpower into it, it doesn't matter. Because manifestation is not happening through either one of those centers. So, just like the sacral motor, manifestation does not happen with the exertion of more willpower. Pushing through life on the material plane is a fast track to heart disease, stomach issues, gallbladder removal, and the autoimmune diseases. Why? Well, because all four of these biological correlations are over here in the ego center. So the material plane plays a part in our initiation into awakening. Now, why do I say that? Here you go, peeps. This is really important. The 54, 32, 44, 26, up to the 21, over to the 45. This is capitalism. We just saw that on a couple screens ago. That's a part of the tribal ego circuitry. But the mystical way is also a part of the ego tribal circuitry. It is so critically important to understand that materialism and mysticism that happens here, where we all of a sudden we take a divergence over to the 51-25, the 10 and the 20. There is a convergence of the material way and spirituality. And it happens here in the ego. Okay? The health and wellness of our material way and our mystical way are bridged by our gut health. The 37 is the mouth, and the 40 is our gut. Now, I'm bringing this to you here. This is also a part of the biology aspect, so that you can really grasp this deeper. But in order for the material way to feel less of a struggle, in order for our mysticism to be less of a struggle, we have to have proper gut flora. We have to be healthy in our gut. The gut, when the pre and the probiotics are healthy, are correct, what takes place is that our brains and our minds can then work in a healthy way. And this is 2020 that I'm recording this. We are still in the cross of planning, and the cross of planning has the 3740 as the global orchestrated directory. one of the things that has happened on this planet is that food has been altered greatly. And if you can control the food supply, if you can control the food itself, you can control the material success or not of people. You can also control their mysticism and their spirituality. So the evolutionary mutation that's happening here is that down in the 1949, this is breaking down. So the sensitivity to needs of the tribe and the sacrificing oneself for the good of the tribe is breaking down. This is adjusting. Then we move to the 3740. This becomes the bridge. So the 37 being family and community, moving to the 40, working alone as an individual. So what the 40 really does is it actually delivers. It delivers. It delivers the individual from the tribe over to the initiation, so that the initiation can happen for each individual in the tribe if it's correct. So that there can be this shock that goes, oh, hey, I'm a part of this bigger mechanism of the tribe, but I'm actually individual in it and I'm separate from it. The 25 returns us to our innocence, that spiritual awakening. And then the 10 and the 20, this really is this channel is called awakening. So this is the expression of the individual behavior of self in the now. And when we look at the larger aspect, the global orchestrated directory, so the plan is moving from growth of the 42, and it's actually moving to shock. So, like, as you can see, the global orchestrated directory is planning to shock us. Hello, we're in 2020 and the world is upside down, is what, if you don't know a human design and the mechanics, it feels like it's very upside down. The pattern is moving from all of the delusion of the 16 and the quote-unquote skills to the wisdom of the now. Whoa. That's like, poof, that kind of hits you right there, right? So that is why the ego is so important. So in most mysticism, in most spirituality, everybody's like, oh, you gotta get rid of your ego. No way, That is the most important space. Now, understand that there's been so much propaganda with the 16 that has been sitting in this global orchestrated directory. The cross, the cross of planning, and the cross of the Maya, the 16, and the whole part of the 16 is propaganda. Propaganda. How can we dumb down humanity so that we can control them? That's what's been going on for 400 years. And it's not that it's good, right, or good, bad, right, wrong, doesn't matter. It is what it is. That was the frequency. Now we're moving to this autonomy. And you are learning this at the exact right perfect time so that you can stand in your individuated life, so that you can really take care of yourself, love your gut health, and have this mystical expression of who you are on this material plane. So let's just, when we look at the defined ego, if it's unhealthy, it's pumped up, it has expectations, it puts pressures on other people, it gets carried away, it's very forceful. But the natural, healthy state of it, you control your life, you control your own resources, consistent access to willpower, a natural sense of self-esteem and self-worth. You have a consistent way of creating deals, bargains, promises, and have a healthy balance between work and rest. And when your heart's in it, you can move mountains. If it's undefined, so this is how you're going to be able to make money, is the wisdom aspect of this, okay? If you're caught up in the shadow, if you're overcompensating, trying to prove yourself, trying to compare yourself to other people, working really hard to show others your value, you've lost it. You're never going to be able to make money. However, if you see the wisdom piece of this, you have nothing to prove. Knowing that you have nothing to prove, feeling worthy and valuing yourself, saying, hey, I can do my best, but I can't promise. You can sense who has a healthy self-esteem. You can sense who can make promises and keep them. Notice the willpower pressure from others and not feel forced to act or make promises. That's the wisdom here. It's completely open. It's very difficult to grasp worthiness if the not self is running the show. How do I measure it? What's it all about? So the not self becomes very murky and mired. However, when the strategy and authority is guiding you, there can be great, copious amounts of wisdom that come from this totally undefined ego center. And then you can make all kinds of money here. Selling worthiness, the theme here is that you will never find your worth in money, period. Your worth is about spirit. So worthiness is sold through belonging to a community, through work being used well, through support, being on the right side, through adapting in times of shock, through honorable work and clean work, and through the actualization of your own unique authority, you get what you deserve. So we all get a hand up in this. When we're all correct, man, I just cannot wait to see that day. I really can't. And I hope that it's in my lifetime. So here we are breaking it down for you. The 21. This is the hunter, the huntress, biting through. This is selling powerlessness. You're going to get it when we walk in here. So you are worthy to turn your power over to the community. The 51 is selling adaptation, worthiness through adaptation. The 26 is selling support. You are worthy if you are one of us. And the 40 is this deliverance, this selling of work. You are worthy if you are being used well. So when we take a look at this and we look at the 21 is a very, very, very fascinating gate. You guys hopefully have walked through the channels and walked through where I broke all this down for you. The 21 is called biting through. Numerous different things can happen here. And we could get TMJ because you're biting onto things and biting through things and clenching. But how do we make money here? Look at this. It's called powerlessness, where the just are condemned to a futile confrontation with superior forces. Defeat as a survivable humiliation. Unless one follows one's own material path, the breaking of the ego by superiors. Total withdrawal, lack of will for the material path in order to protect the ego. This sounds very, very, very negative. And something that is very interesting is that, and I believe I've shared this somewhere in some video, Ra wrote the Rei Vai Ching for the not-self. He always wanted to write one for the awake person who's already been in human design for a really long time and who can get it and who can grasp these mechanics. I don't know if that ever happened, but it would be interesting to be able to tap into that wisdom that he had. But powerlessness, basically what this means is that in order to become a part of the community, it's as though you need to integrate with the community versus trying to be the 45, right? The 45 on the other side of this is that king or queen and trying to take that helm. This is about bringing your worth and matching their worth. So coming into a community and melding with that community. So not having power over them, but being powerful as you step into that community. So things that Ross said here, like very, very easily, someone with this hanging gate could sell real estate, gated communities, neighborhoods. They could sell clothing. This is where, you start up a Shopify store because you are so into spirituality, and you come up with logos and or not logos, but sayings and all that kind of stuff, and you bring together this community of like-minded people. Like food, this is our farmers markets, and bringing that local community, buying their food, being in that thing, or helping those that have local food market themselves to be in here. Now, what you might be like, this makes no sense to me. Well, it's about fitting into a community. That's what the tribe really wants. And the 21, when we look at it in the business language, it's about implementation. It's not about being powerful over someone. It's about implementing the community, implementing yourself into the community. It's an addition to the community. So when I hear the word implement, I'm a farmer. So you have the tractor, and the tractor's, doing the work, and then the implement comes along behind, attaches onto the hitch, and you plow, or you cut hay, or whatever it is. Those are called implements. So you implement into the community. You add on. It's an addition. You help the whole aspect of it. So this is about where you live, what you eat, what you wear. You can see how much business we can do here, how we try to control our society here. So selling community, fitting into the community. Schools, supermarkets, shops, all those kind of things. This is a community town. This is where the tribe is controlled. This is a control mechanism. That's what 21 does. It wants to control. How do we control? You and I are the same. We're fitting into this community. We're in this gated community. We have the same values. That values come from the tribe. We have the same principles. Principles come from the tribe. So this larger organization, pulls it all together. And you get to be that. You get to be that hub. So it's not about being powerful over anybody. This is about using your power to the greater good of the community. The 40. This is humility. So this is about being used well. So the 40 is, this is the foreman. This is the worker bee of the tribe. This is how, this is the boots on the ground being. The 26 on the other side, he's a sales guy, right? He's selling and he's selling and he's selling. The 40, no, he is working. This is the guy that's working. So there's a point of transition between struggle and liberation. And the power is about getting to the point where you excel in your work. To be of value is truly humbling. Humility, the recognition of smallness and unimportance. Suddenly, your role takes over and you suddenly realize you are being used well. When we are dropped into our frequency, into our design, we are used so well. We are all here for a purpose, used for something greater than ourselves. This is worthiness. You will not find true humility until you find your worthiness. We all have value. Some people have to prove it, those that are defined. Others don't, those that are undefined. We have a whole planet of people trying to prove themselves. And that's only correct for 30% of them. Can't feed the stomach without the willingness to work. You can love work or hate it. I would encourage you to love your work. So the role takes over and you're being used well. The ego needs to be massaged and there has to be affection. So love me, love me, love me. I'm worked so hard for you. And that makes me feel worthy. So for me, I have this in my design. It's defined in my design, in a defined ego. How I show my love and affection to others is I work for them, and then I need to be appreciated in return. And appreciation doesn't mean, oh, you have to give me things. It just needs a thank you. So how are you being used? So in the 40, if it's hanging off an undefined ego, you get to teach people how to be used well. You can be working at a headhunting agency or a temp agency or an HR department or selling want ads or job sites. You write that all up. Make people see, look at that person has these skills. I need them. Human design, strategy. The 40 wants to feel worthy and have that sense of worthiness because it wants to be used well. It wants to be appreciated. It will work and it will do what it loves as long as it's appreciated. The 26, remember, this is our sales guy. This is our salesman. So this is about selling support. You are worthy if you are one of us. So the maximization of power of memory applied to the nurturing of continuity. So gather support through exaggerating. That's what the tribe does, you guys. The tribe exaggerates. So if you're one of us, you won't get killed. That's what the T cell really does. Because the T cell is that warrior that's cruising around. I don't even know where the T cell cruises around, but it's in there. It's part of our immune system. And what it's doing is it's constantly saying, okay, am I healthy? That over there is not one of us. We need to destroy it. So we either support and defend you or we kill you. We are the best tribe. We are the best business. We are the best product. We have the best service. But one of us, be one of us and we'll protect you. So nothing kills the competition better than a super salesman. They're the killers. So my product is better. My product is the best. It's not about new and improved over here. This is the tribe. They want to know that it's the best. It wants it to be demonstrated and it wants a testimonial. So here, influence, 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 influence. That's what salespeople do. They influence you to purchase. That's what, if we take a look at all of this, we take a look at all the ways to sell, to make money, to attract resources, to attract that correct information, it really is about influence. We want to influence people in a healthy way. We want people to be influences in a healthy way. So how do we influence each other? This is where we, come up with country clubs or groups. These are coaching programs. You can crush the competition by being a part of our inner circle. You influence others. You sell them the ability, once prepared, to gather support. Once prepared, that's the important piece. Support. That's what the tribe wants. That's what we all want. We want to be supported in what we do, supported in who we are. And we get that from our own tribe. You get that from your fractal. And then we each can be healthy influences towards each other. So support can be many, many, many different things. So, this was just a small little point of it, like creating groups, creating clubs, creating programs. But support can be, you're the supportive assistant to whatever. It's about influencing. So what's so cool is that every good CEO has an awesome assistant. Because that assistant, they they see it all. And then they can influence really good decisions from the CEO. Something that I added in the care piece of this is that in order for a couple to be successful, there has to be this understanding that, each one's bringing their part. And I shared the story. That was one of the things that my neighbor always said is, listen, like a man has to have a good wife. They have to have that good wife in order to be successful. And that's important. How can each one of you be an influence within? How can you be an influence in your tribe? How can I be an influence in my tribe? Now don't get confused and go like, she goes all over the place. This is about how do you sell this? I don't have the 26. I don't have an undefined ego. So this isn't really what I'm selling. I'm just teaching it to you. But if you have that there, it's about being an influence. That's what salespeople do. They influence you to purchase. So how are you influencing people so that they buy what you have? All right. So here is a quote from Ra. This planet, wow, everyone is fucked up about money. It's not about money. You'll never find your worth in money. Your worth is about spirit. The grace of life. If everyone was correct, everyone would have what they need. Never equal, and everyone has a right. The actualization of your own unique authority will get you what you deserve. Profit at the expense of the not-self and reinforcing the not-self. It's really what's happening here, you guys. We're profiting through the not-self because we're not operating, but those are the doorways. So the not-self has to be a part of this. So you grab them where they want things and you bring them in and you influence them to what they need. It's about being of genuine service to the other. That clean, crisp, honorable work, and you get to make a profit. So the 51 is adaptation. This is shock. This is a part of our mystical way. This is how we are initiated. Adaptation. Remember, here we have this tribe. Here we have this, being in this tribe. And they don't have an identity. All they know is they're a part of the tribe. Then all of a sudden, they are shocked into, what? I'm individual in all of this? And adapting to that shock. So the ability to respond to disorder and shock through recognition and adaptation. Only chance it has to get beyond the material. In the end, money isn't everything. The 51 is the mystical way, and the 40 is delivering the individual that has its roots in the tribe, delivers them over to the 51 so the initiation of self can begin. Adapting through times of shock and disorder. Through this is the greatest potential for profit making. We have disasters on this planet continuously. How can you live by your own authority if you don't feel worthy? This is the great sickness out there. Establish a sense of well-being within oneself by trusting your own authority to adapt. The moment there's a collapse, like the stock market or the government, there will always be those that take advantage of the shock and the disorder. You know, Ra always said, I'm not a moralist. So don't see it as bad. This is classic adaptation. And here is the revenge. The government has taken advantage of me, so I will loot and get what I deserve. The ego can be destabilized in times of threat or shock. And the whole point is that it is not about money. Life isn't about money. Life is not about spending your time concerned on the material plane. This is part of the illusion. We are in that 16 of that delusion. It is the densest illusion of the not-self. The not-self is so incomplete and so poor in spirit and in hope, and the only thing it can dream of is riches. And in its deep, deep poverty, leave the pain of the have-nots grow so great that they dwarf anything of the have-haves. That is exactly what we're seeing on this planet. I showed you guys the very, very, very first, the foundational video for this module. It's insane, right? The wealth aspect. There's just this tiny little handful of people that hold all the wealth. And all these poor, broken-spirited people that are just churning out what they can. That whole thing's going to break down, thankfully. I'm looking forward to that. I want humans to rise up and be what they can be. So here, worthiness through adaptation. Again, we're in the year 2020. Man, do we ever have a lot of disorder happening because the cross of planning is coming to a close. So every single disaster, every single depression, every single stock market crash, all of this, these are times for you as a 51 to jump in and teach people how to adapt. Teach people how to go online. Teach people about cryptocurrencies. Teach people about whatever it is. I don't know. Teach people how to feed themselves. That's what happens in these times. So this particular video is a little shorter, of course. We only had 4 gates to go through. So if you have an undefined ego center with any of these hanging gates, or maybe you have it completely open, that could be a possibility as well. This is all places where you can make money. If it's defined in your body graph, that's really how you're delivering your message. You hear my ego through my voice. You hear it. I make an impact. That's what happens. I'm delivering my education piece through that impact. So have fun with this. Play around with it, and we will play with it in coaching program.